Oh, what'd I do? This is what I wanted to do. Good morning and happy National Angel Food Cake Day. And what better time to talk about Enochian angels? What a segue. I am so proud of myself for that one. Yes, I'm going to talk about uh, a little bit about Enochian magic, just for uh, a little while here. I'm getting my thoughts and my brains and my materials together for what I hope will be a wonderful sort of weekend Enochian intensive out in Joshua Tree sometime next year or the year after, whatever it is. It seems like it's in the works. Uh, so I wanted to talk just a minute about Enochian magic because so many people who are uh, interested in other kinds of magic have heard strange, wonderful, frightening, inaccurate things about Enochian magic and what it's all about, and uh, so I ran across in my researches here, I ran across an article I wrote for my good friends at Watkins Bookshop in London a number of years ago when my book Enochian Vision Magic came out. Now, prior to writing that, uh, I'd written quite a few uh, quite a few things. First of all, my first book that I co-authored with Christopher Hyatt was called this, Enochian World of Aleister Crowley and Enochian Sex Magic. Well, Dr. Hyatt was sort of an expert in the sex magic part of most any form of magic, so that was kind of his contribution. And mine was the introduction and comments upon uh, Crowley's Enochian material that appeared in the Equinox. Under several volumes of the Equinox contained Enochian stuff. Many years later, and just sort of recently, relatively recently, I've gathered up Crowley's material from the Equinoxes, including the entire vision and the voice, in this book called The Practice of Enochian Magic. It's a nice little book by the folks at Weiser. It's a part of the Best of the Equinox series. And so I've done that. But the book I'm talking about is this one, Enochian Vision Magic. Now, I first wrote it, or finished writing, because I don't know when I started it, back in, let's see, 2019, I guess. I guess that's when it was. And the good people at Watkins were selling it and asked me to write just a few kind of introductory words about it for their magazine. And I'm going to share that with you today because I haven't looked at this in quite a few years. Uh, Dr. Stephen Skinner was kind enough to uh, write a nice little blurb for it, and Jeffrey James, also an Enochian scholar and expert, were kind enough to offer a few kind words about it, and I started off with their quotes, but modesty forbids me from, if you can believe that. Okay, but this is what makes this book different than previous books on Enochian magic, including Crowley's and the Golden Dawns. Most authors will gush and tell you their latest book is their favorite. But I'm sincere when I say I've never been more excited about a new book than I am right now about my latest Enochian Vision Magic, an introduction and practical guide to the magic of Dr. John Dee and Edward Kelly. Naturally, I'm thrilled because it is new. And that after nearly 30 years of research and practice and over 3 years of hammering away at the keyboard in the middle of the night, it is done and out there. But I'm most gratified because this labor of love represents an entirely new and practical approach to this breathtakingly elegant and powerful magical system, one that is already changing the way modern magicians understand and practice Enochian magic. Did I say entirely new? Not exactly. Toward the end of the 19th century, the adepts of the magical society, the Golden Dawn, used a tiny portion of the surviving notes and magical diaries of famed Elizabethan magus John Dee and his clairvoyant assistant Edward Kelly, and developed a remarkable and effective system of magic that for the last 100 years has been used with varying levels of success by ceremonial magicians. As a member of the Golden Dawn, Aleister Crowley learned Enochian magic, and after he left the order, made it an integral part of his magical life. There is no question that Enochian magic as practiced by the Golden Dawn and Crowley is the real deal. It is tidy, it's effective, it's a system of visionary magic that can be successfully worked by almost anyone with the ability to close his or her eyes and observe the panorama of mental images. It bears, however, little resemblance to anything Dee and Kelly ever practiced or were instructed to practice by their angelic instructors. In fact, the information the adepts of the Golden Dawn used to create their version of Enochian magic was drawn primarily from original notes and diaries that covered only the last 90 days of nearly 3 years of Dee and Kelly's angelic operations. Lots of magical things happened to Dee and Kelly in the 2 years prior to those 90 days. Things that I believe represented a personal preparation and attunement process that was necessary in order for the two magicians to be able to absorb and handle those final revelations. At the core of those preparatory exercises were instructions how to create and use an array of magical implements that the Golden Dawn and Crowley all but ignored. Things, I believe, were very important to the effective practice of Enochian magic. So, you notice on Facebook, I put up a whole wand of paper Enochian magic rings. But that was one of those things they ignored. A ring without which, according to the angels, the magician can do nothing. And then a breastplate or a lamen, which was to be worn by the magician and which connects him or her to the holy table. Now, the holy table image of it was included in the equinox, and the Golden Dawn were familiar with the Holy Table image. But aside from that, don't mention how to use it or what it was, but the picture was there. Okay. The Holy Table inscribed with letters from an angelic alphabet, upon which would rest and here's the other one, the sigillum Deumeth, an intricately carved disc made of purified beeswax, an artifact so stunning and historically intriguing that it is prominently displayed today in the British Museum. Students, and is probably the most recognized image of Enochian Magick. It's that seven-pointed star with letters and angel names spread out and diffused, decoded. Seven rest in seven and seven. Okay. Students and practicing magicians have long been tantalized by published images of some of these tools, especially the Holy Table and the Sigillum Deumeth. But neither the Golden Dawn nor Crowley gave us much practical information how these complex pieces of magical furniture fit into the practice of Enochian magic. Furthermore, it may come as a surprise to many that the familiar image of the Holy Table was initially printed backwards in Merrick Casaubon's 1659 A True and Faithful Relation of What Passed for Many Years Between Dr. John Dee and Some Spirits. Actually, the title's even longer than that. And the mistake was perpetuated through the centuries in subsequent publications. In writing Enochian Vision Magic, I was lucky enough to have the kind assistance of some of the most eminent Enochian scholars in the world, including Jeffrey James, Robin E. Cousins, Clay Holden, and the John Dee Publication Project. Mr. Holden, who penned the foreword to this book, was particularly helpful correcting the glaring errors and supplying me with the beautiful and accurate rendings of the Holy Table, Sigillum Deumeth, and other important images. Dee and Kelly were instructed to create these and other objects of temple furniture by means of a tedious and complex process that obliged them to distill grids of thousands of alphanumeric magic squares into smaller and smaller squares, a process that in my mind seemed to mimic in remarkable similarity what modern physicists envision were the major phases of Big Bang creation. In Enochian Vision Magic, I walk the student through this process, encouraging him or her to create these same magical tools, which, when assembled, represent a miniature working model of the universe. It was as if the angels were telling Dee and Kelly, "Yes, we can answer your questions. But you must first be attuned to this uniquely ordered universe where conversations such as this can happen. You must be programmed with and be part of the momentum and flow of creation. You must be able to view the universe in the way we angels see things. You must join us and see how everything in heaven and earth was created and is connected." As the student creates these magical tools, he or she is afforded the opportunity to undergo an attunement and preparation process similar to those experienced by Dee and Kelly. A preparatory step that until now has been completely avoided by modern magicians. Rituals based on this process and incorporating these tools can attune you, the magician, to this universe and serve to progressively strengthen and enhance your visionary capabilities. The material for this book is not speculative. It is based on 2 series of group visionary workings covering nearly 2 years of weekly classes in our home in Costa Mesa. The infamous Monday night magic class. And for 2 years, or maybe it was 3 years, it was 2 nights a week. And workshops I presented in the US and Europe involving participation of hundreds of people, many of whom had not practiced Enochian magic until that day. Yes, Enochian magic is developed and practiced by the Golden Dawn, and Aleister Crowley works really well, just right out of the box. Okay. But Enochian magic is a work in progress, a work that begun in the spring of 1582 and continues to this day. I can say without hesitation it works so much better when the magician is first prepared and attuned, as I believe was originally intended. With Enochian vision magic, I better hold it up again or I won't be a shameless self-promoter. Enochian vision magic. In this book, I reach back in time to the original source material. It is the first book ever to outline that all-important preparation process and provide a step-by-step instructions how to apply the magic to one's own spiritual practices. Once again, okay, that's what I wrote many years ago to at the request of my friends at Watkins Bookshop in London, as they got ready to premiere the sale of Enochian Vision Magic, the practical guide to the magic of John Dee and Edward Kelly, forward by my good friend Jason Louv, and it's a book by Weiser. Anyway, that's it for today. Constance and I'm going to drive her over to the Smud Yard, where she's going to fill up with wood chips. Well, we'll fill up the car with wood chips to bring back for our mulch and ground cover. Anyway, until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself and be good to each other. And if you're interested in Enochian magic, do it, okay? Whatever you've heard about it, as Rabbi Ben Clifford says, don't worry about it. You're a chicken Kabbalist. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will.